Oh my God, Bruno. Welcome back to Andertons TV. Bruno Bacci, responsible for these criminally awesome and immersive new guitars that we started stocking earlier this year. Well, look, welcome to Guildford, man.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to come in.
No, it's our pleasure to have you.
Yeah, you know, when I'm landing in the UK, I feel to come back in my country.
Well, yes, because you lived here for 6 or 7 years, right?
Yes, because I was a graphic designer, and when I landed in the UK for the first time, I was happy because be a graphic designer, international graphic designer, you know. Oh yes, I love it, and I always loved the music, and here in this country, music is a huge job, is a real job, not like the other countries. And I really, really love it. It's something where I feel and where I love to stay, you know. Oh, well,
look. So I met Bruno at the NAMM show in 2024. It was quite fortunate, really, so that just at the end of 2023, Chapman Guitars had done a deal with a distributor in North America who are owned by an Italian family, I think, to represent Chapman over there. So I was spending a little bit of time on this distributor's booth where Chapman was. And in the middle of the booth, there were these there was this stage where all the different brands that this distributor represented would perform. And we got to see Matteo Mancuso with doing some stuff, often with his dad. And they were playing these guitars that I if I'm honest with you, at the time I didn't really recognize, but I realized after I had seen them before somewhere. And literally, as we're packing down the stand right at the very end of the last day, Massimo, who owns the distributor, said, I really want to introduce you to Bruno. And we had this like 10-minute conversation right at the end with some very nice coffee. I sort of feel it was a bit like being held by the Italian mafia in this little room, basically being asked if you wanted to sell some guitars. But yeah, so we just went, you know, we should talk when we get home, and I'm super pleased to say that 6 months down the line, we received our first delivery of Bacci guitars, which ironically only arrived a week ago, and there were 5, and now there's only 2. There was supposed to be 5 for when Bruno arrived. But look, we're going to talk to you about this guitar. You've probably worked out from my opening little jam here, it's a pretty extraordinary baritone instrument with bass noises and guitar noises and all sort of wonderful stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But Bruno, give us your background into guitar making and guitar playing generally. I mean, I've never even asked you whether you play yourself. You know, I mean, what's your background?
Okay, when I was young, I was studying how to play guitar, and I was in the secondary school, and then one Monday I said to my father, I don't want to go back to the school anymore. The teacher doesn't say to me nothing interesting to me. And I started to work in the iron company, folding, soldering, and something like that. And study guitar. You know, when you are young, you have lots of friends. They study too, and they stay together. It was a very nice family, you know, playing together, trying to play together, because play was another thing. And one day I cut one of my finger when I was working, and you can see my finger.
Oh gosh! It's like Tony Iommi style injury.
Yes, and I cried for 5 days without stop.
And it's this hand as well.
Yes,
so okay.
Yes, the left hand, and I lost all of my friends. I said to all of my friends, that musician, I don't want to stay with you anymore. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
And my life has changed, you know, still with the music, because music's my my big part of the soul I have is music. And after 20 years, in these 20 years I did different jobs, not only iron things, you know. And I said to my ex-wife, tomorrow I'm going to build a guitar. In the night I wake up and this is the words was coming out. Never think before, always after. For some reason, when I was young, this is the most bad day in my life. But after that night, it was the most lucky day I had in my life. Because making guitars is my life. It's not playing guitars.
Yeah.
Because I'm more excited to see you play than I play. Because I can see my babies, my instruments in the hand of somebody else making new music, new songs, you know. And after I started to study how to making guitars, I was a graphic designer. I was working in Cheltenham in the UK, and I designed my own style guitars because I said to myself, why I had to help Fender or Gibson to sell instruments? Let me do something by myself. And that's it. That's it, you know.
So let's talk about, I mean, I think it's a brave move. Guitar shapes are so iconic, you know, to break away from a Les Paul or a Stratocaster or a Telecaster is so hard. So I think most designers, if they feel like they've got something, an ability to build a guitar, will generally try and copy to some degree or another an existing shape. And you do get occasional ones that go a different path. And I'm so pleased that you did, because if you go a different path, 95% of the time it's not successful. But when the 5% or maybe 1% is successful, and you're part of that 1%, nobody can say, oh, well, you've just copied this brand. It's unique. And I love, so let's go through so first of all, when did you decide that you would make a baritone guitar as opposed to a normal scale length guitar?
The first guitar I ever made was a Telecaster, because I loved Telecaster when I was young. And after 1 year, I made it. I decided to design a new guitar, and I said, I have a friend that was playing an electro baritone. I said, and he was my hero, you know. You know, in the town there is the hero guitarist, you know. And I said, let me do a baritone. And I made the first baritone with the P90 and the single coil at the bridge, not the bass line. It wasn't the bass line. And I went to him and I said, hey, Luca, how are you? I am fine. I made a baritone for you. And it was, you know, look.
This is the look?
This shape is similar, very similar, but this is more accurate. What guitar is this? I said, and he started to play, and he opened the eyes. I said, oh my God, what is nice baritone, this one. But at the end, he said, Bruno, I don't want it. Because I love the dirt and the shit sound coming out from my guitar, you know. Because, you know, when you are nobody,
right?
When you are a friend, and how you can convince him to play something which is sounding better, but the style is completing out of the fit, Yeah. And I save it. And after a few years, this baritone was got from a very famous guitarist in Italy, and he doesn't make anything with the baritone. He gave me back, and I was also a music manager for a musician. It's called Dan Mudd. This guy playing blues, you know.
Okay.
And we went in Minneapolis to record his new album. Before leaving, he tried the baritone. He was on the wall. I never, after these two persons, I never asked to the other to play. You know when you don't trust something.
Yeah.
I said, let me forget, and he got it, and he's starting to singing "Going Down" of Freddie King. You know, going down, down, down. Oh, what sound was coming out? And he said, Bruno, it's so wonderful guitars. If I really, really love to have more basses sound coming out. And during the night, I take out a pickup from the Precision I was on the wall, half pickup, and I put on the bass line. I study the notes of the strings where it's sounding, and this was the first position I found perfectly for the bass sound. And we went in Minneapolis. And Cory Wong was one of the musicians invited to play with. And Cory Wong wasn't very famous when in 2018, you know, not like now.
Yeah.
And when we get in, I had 2 guitars and 1 baritone. He went straight to the baritone. I said, "What is this?" I like it. And he started to play. And after few minutes, he said, "Can I buy it?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, you can get it. You know, how much do you want?" He said, "Give me $500." I said, "You know, just the expenses back." But without no Cory Wong at all.
Yeah.
And the sound engineering in front of in the other room from off the glass was looking these things. You know, you don't understand who is Cory Wong, Bruno. And then I asked to Cory, "Could you make a video with this guitar? You know, he's helping me to do something." And he said, "I have an idea." And the idea he has was the Fearless Flyers band.
Wow. So sorry, the band he put together because the guitar inspired the idea.
So Cory coming back to the Wolfpack, and they create a band, and they invite Mark Lettieri to play with, because Mark was already a baritone player.
Yes.
And the history is that Marcus came in the studio with the super baritone, and Cory said, "Mark, could you try this baritone instead of the super?" And after 2 days, I received a call. I was driving in the car, and I received a call from Mark Lettieri. Say, "Hey man," I didn't know the number, you know, because, "Hey man, I'm Mark Lettieri. Are you Bruno?" And the answer was, "Yes, I'm the Pope." And I closing down the call because I was thinking it was a joke, you know. I was a fan of Snarky Puppy before, and he calling me back again. I say, "Hey Bruno, I'm really Mark Lettieri." I said, "Oh, sorry." And I stopped, and I was very happy to receive a call from him. Happy like if you want a baritone, I can make a Fender 6 for you. And he said, "Bruno, are you crazy? The design of your baritone is so wonderful. I don't want to change nothing. I want it." And this teach me something. When you trust yourself and trust your job, you don't need to forget what you did. You have to trust and go straight to the end, to the target. So, and then is born the Fearless Flyers. This is the history of Fearless Flyers.
That's crazy.
And when the guitar for Mark Lettieri was done, I went in Rome to give him, because they planned to do a Snarky Puppy concert in Rome. And I went in Rome asking Mark if my colleague can play my basses. And it's funny, I arrived there, you know, the woodworm, the bass one, and they did the sound check in 5 minutes. 13 people in 5 minutes sound check, incredible. And I was in front of the stage, and they ran out, and I seen Mark and Michael running back with the bass and with the baritone, and they started jamming on the stage. And it's come Larry Lewis to play and jam with the drummer, and I was there like, what's happening, you know? And at the end of the jam, Michael come to me and say, Bruno, can I play your bass tonight? And no words was coming out from my mouth. It was the head moving up and down, and that is the moment when Mark Lettieri played the first time the baritone, and I spent all the evening to say to all the audience, do you see these two instruments? I made it.
You must. I mean, I absolutely love stories like this, because I think, you know, you guys shouldn't get the. I think what you're seeing now is somebody who's on their journey. This would have been, I would imagine, what Paul Reed Smith was like 30-something years ago, when like Carlos Santana said, yeah, okay, I'll try your guitar. You know, it's like, and your life's work to date is validated in that instant. You know, and and Bruno, your company now is still making, you know, a tiny number of guitars, really, isn't it? It's you know, you're probably talking, you know, 100 a year, something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
120, something like that.
So and you know, it's such a wonderful. You know, I have huge admiration for guys like Paul when they get to the size that they've got at, but I equally have huge admiration for the guy who's still a really artisan sort of craft workshop. Anyway, look, it's a lovely story, and I know there's another chapter in that story, because of course now Matteo Mancuso is playing these guitars and putting together his own sort of spec version of this. Yeah. And now we've talked about, you know, Corey Wong, Mark, you do a much better pronunciation of Mark's surname than me, and Matteo are all sort of guitarists. If you're not a guitar player, you're probably not familiar with their work. That's the kind of guitar player they are. But you've also got another guitar player now who's working with you to build guitars, who is completely going to open the world to mainstream, you know, rock guitar players. So tell us a bit about how you met this particular chap.
I was driving in my car, and I love to hear in rock radios. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a person who loves the historic rock. But I'm also a person who loves the new music coming out. And I heard this song called Soundbuster. It's a beautiful song. And in the particular moment of the song, there is 3 or 4 notes of the baritone sound. And my brain is running crazy. What's happened? They're using baritone? Let me try to call them, to contact them. And, you know... I'm the person making instruments for the bands I love, you know, the music I love, more than the think about, strategy for selling, you know. And I try to search the names, and I seen this guy with the pink hair. I said, oh, I like it. He's a rock man. Let me try to call. And I contacted by message on Instagram. He has 25,000 followers, and you know, when you're writing to somebody without chance, you know. And in 5 minutes he answered to me and he say, hey Bruno, nice news about the baritone. What's the sound of your baritones? And I said, Carlos, can we have a video meeting, because I don't want to start to write a lot, I don't have time. And we had a video call together. He was in Milan to do some interview for the tour.
We haven't told anyone who it even is yet. So do you want to tell them who the person and who the band is, or are you building up to that?
Yes, the band is Fontaine DC. It's a band where I start to love. It's a great band.
Relatively new, but absolutely killing it at the moment.
Yeah. And And when we did the first video meeting, he said to me, Bruno, you don't need to explain to me the baritone. I search on the internet, Bacci, and there is a nice word coming out of your instruments. And I gave him his baritone last Sunday, 3 days ago, sorry, or 4, I forgot what days,
Fine.
but anyway. And the funny thing is that in this huge festival, he seen the baritone. I did a very nice details for him, very nice. And he said, Bruno, I want to play the baritone tonight. I say, Carlos, don't do that. You don't know how to play the baritone. It's a new guitar for you. I don't care. I can play. And it was on the stage, you know, crazy.
Oh, it's a great story, and I think again, I'm pleased for you as well, because it's easy. I think if you get 2 or 3 of a certain type of artist, it's easy for people to pigeonhole your guitar as, oh, that's who it's for. And I think the whole baritone thing, whether you decide to go in at the level that the Bacci guitar's at, which obviously is, you know, the price is indicative of a small, you know, custom detail builder, or maybe you want to go and buy a baritone guitar that's just mass produced and super affordable. I would encourage you to do it, because there is something magical about a baritone instrument. If you can play a regular 6-string guitar, everything is familiar and yet at the same time newly magical. So chords are familiar, shapes are familiar, balance, everything is familiar. The strings are a little thicker, but because everything is a different key and there's just a different ambience to everything you play. I mean, you saw that thing. In fact, what I forgot to mention is at different times during this video, you're going to see Pete Honore playing all 3 of these guitars. And we're just going to let Pete see where he goes. Just going to plug him in, see where he goes, and you're going to hear what I hope, anyway, because we haven't done this yet. I think you'll hear Pete go in a direction that will be inspiring, because it'll be like, it won't be what you would normally play on a 6-string. And I love also as well, you know, I suppose if you talk about drop tune guitars, which ultimately a sort of a baritone is, you'd be forgiven for thinking it is just about a metal scene with that kind of thing. Because I think those guys have embraced that drop tune thing perhaps more than any other genre. But what's cool to see is that the Bacci guitars are going to be in a rock band with Fontaines DC, they're going to be in a funk band with Mark and Corey, they're going to be in a, I don't even where you put Matteo as a genre, you know, jazz, whatever. And they're all finding their special inspiration.
Exactly.
Let's talk technically now then about how these guitars work. So the three guitars that we've got here are indicative of the two basic styles of baritone. So
okay, first of all, Pete, I love to Lee, I love to explain the baritone.
Sure, please do.
Well, it's something where I love to explain to the people maybe are worried about, I don't know how to play the baritone. So if you put the capo or is tuning in B, if you put the capo on the 5th fret, you have a normal guitar.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's E. It's a normal guitar. It's nothing else. And lots of people making instruments with 24, 23 frets. I took the 5 frets from the high and put on the bottom. This is the guitar I have made. You can go up and up and up, but you can go down to the E.
Yeah.
With this, you can go more down to the E. And you know, everybody, Cory Wong, Mark Lettieri, Carlos O'Connell of Fontaines, Matteo Mancuso, always start to say it's the most creative guitar you can play, because the guitarists, they can tune down the guitar, but it's not the same. But nobody can go down, and when they are able to going down, and because this kind of fret oppositions maybe are not on the bass line, because the bass is not going too much high, and the guitar is not going too much down, and there is something between the bass and the guitar, which doesn't exist. And this is the sound coming out from the baritone. And it's a point of view where I really, really love to teach to the people, because you can play this guitar like the same guitar, it's similar.
We should say as well, I guess the other guitar that perhaps is similar-ish to this is Fender's Bass 6.
Yes,
but that's a full octave below a normal guitar. So that's it's a different sound again. It's almost like maybe get one of those as well, because that'll probably open different inspiration. But
exactly.
I don't think the Bass 6 as an instrument, and perhaps it's to do with the string tension or the size of it or whatever, I don't think the Bass 6 is as familiar to play as a baritone. Like if you've learned to play on a normal guitar, it's a relatively small step to get familiar with a baritone, whereas with the Bass 6 I sort of feel it's a bigger step.
Yeah, but we're talking about a 1960 instrument.
Yeah.
This is a new instrument, and I put the bass line also, and this create another creative thing, you know.
Well, I'm interested. So the two basic styles that we've got here are, this is a
29 and 75 inch scale.
Yeah.
And this is the new scale we're making, is 28 inch.
Okay, fine. And if you're comparing that to, say, a P bass or a jazz bass, that's a 33 inch, I think, a normal bass scale?
No, 34.
34.
Yes.
So it's not as, you know, it's not the same as having a bass guitar, but it's obviously longer than having a traditional
It's
six
similar if you think about a double bass, a cello, and the violin.
Right.
This is the cello of the electric instrument.
Do you know what? That's interesting as well, because if I had to pick my favourite out of a violin, a cello, and a double bass, I'd go cello every time. And I never even thought about it like that. So anyway, so then we have, is there anything about the body shape that's part of a more, what's the sort of ergonomic thought, or is it just you like the look of it?
No, when I start to design, you know, it's very hard to design a new instruments, but because in your mind you have all the beautiful shapes designed in the past time, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're doing something, your brand must be clean, because doing the corner of the tele, it's very fast, very easy, you know. And I designed this instrument without think about anything. I think about girls, flowers. If you think about tulips, it should be a tulip as well.
Yeah.
And balance.
So it's important for the balance.
Yeah, Lee, I spent 10 years of my life.
That's quite amazing when you think it's a relatively big headstock and a longer scale length. That is sitting, you know, that is there's no real, it's pretty well balanced. That I think this piece here is just sitting on my leg. It's important to stop that dive.
And you can play in this way, and it fitting again and doesn't falling down like a classical guitar, you know. And
it's very, I mean, it's so a beautiful style. Are you doing all of these by hand, or have you, what sort of machine have you got?
I bought last year a CNC machine, and we making the body of the 70%, and the rest is made by hands, because I put in the neck and the body in tone together, you know. There is not a piece of neck you can put here and have the same sound. Of course, it's different piece of wood, but if you hear the accurate of the sound coming out, very clear, very nice, and the sustain. This means the neck and the body, they talking together.
Yeah.
And if somebody asking me to do a 22 millimeters deep neck, I'm always say I don't know, because I put in tone the neck to the body. Maybe it's 21 millimeter instead 22, but I'm the man looking after, love the sound of the instruments and not the rest. The sound is the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, so that gives you some idea about the sort of the body size. The electronics is obviously super cool. There's a variety of bridges depending on the model that you go after. I mean, look at that. I mean, you're even tooled up to make your own back plates for where the strings go through the body, which is very beautiful detail. Lots and lots of connection between the neck and the body. Bruno, I mean, look, the wood debate rages on, and I'm sure we'll do in the contents section of this video. But again, I believe, and as does every builder I've ever spoken to, that, you know, there is some element of the way a guitar sounds and resonates that is based on the timbers you select. And certainly, you know, there is I remember talking to a Fender master builder once again, saying, again, if you can get the right neck to go with the right guitar, they will, you know, work together better than... Anyway, whether you believe that or not is entirely up to you, but that's what we think. So on the electrics, you've got a choice of electric guitar pickups, and you can see you've got single coils, humbuckers, Filtertron style. You've got P90s. All the one of the ones we've sold had the P90s on it. And I think it's pretty much, you'll make any combination of those, won't you? If somebody wants, you know, single here, humbucker here, or whatever. Then we've got this super cool bass line pickup that sits just underneath the bottom 4 strings. Three strings. Oh, okay. So you just got 3 pole pieces in here.
Yes, in the middle. It's taking 3 strings, because the fourth one, the frequency are killing together.
Okay.
And I decide to get only 3.
Okay. So you can see controls wise, this is a traditional switch for the regular humbuckers on here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I've got a volume for the regular humbuckers, a tone for the regular humbuckers, and then a separate volume for the bass line pickup.
Exactly.
And then you can see I've got 2 cables plugged in, because one of them is the, I forget which one it is. I think the blue one I've got running is the bass line, and the pink one is the magnetic. So you could play this without the bass line in it as just a regular baritone guitar if you wanted to. Little ground switch on here if you've got issues running 2 guitar amplifiers.
Or you can play bass without guitar.
Beautiful hip shot tuners. Oh, yeah, of course. I didn't even think about that. So my rig on the floor is a And it gets a bit complicated because I've got a looper going in as well here, and it's a stereo looper, so I'm looping both the guitar and the bass. But my rig here is, let's turn the tuner off. Don't need all that reverb. So I've got the electric guitar going into the Duchess floor, which is like the pedal amplifier, and all the normal pedals. So. And I can dump distortion pedals, compressors, whatever I want to really dump on there. I had this, for that opening bit, we were going with those big reverbs and... And this is the bit already that when I first played a baritone, it hooked me in, and it was just like, all of a sudden I just want to play. I'm inspired already. I like more reverb on the baritone.
Yeah.
It's just great. I just think it's amazing. And again, I know you're going to jump over to the website, you're going to see the pricing on these, and for a lot of you, sadly, might be out of reach, but please, 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 just, if you're enjoying what you're hearing here, go and just look at other baritones that are, the Squire. Absolutely, and yes. Other brands make, you can buy Far Eastern made baritones for £300 or £400, so anyway. And I'm just normal, all the tuning, all the intervals between the strings is the same as a 6-string, so I'm not playing any different chords. And I have to apologise, honestly, I played 2 things and I almost go, I wish I wasn't in the middle of doing an interview with Bruno here, because then I could just sit and play for half an hour. It's so weird. Anyway, this control, so I'll turn the electric guitar off and I'll wind the bass up. And I've got the bass coming through this little Boss... Oh, in fact, you could say, okay. That's really interesting, given that the string isn't that far away. It really drops off, does it? So we're really up. And obviously I could put that through different effects and stuff like that if I want to, but I'm not. I'm just going basically direct in. And then I layer it and I get a balance between... I don't even know what to say, really. What you're seeing now is what I think probably happened to Corey and to Mark and to Matteo and Carlos, when they first played a baritone. And it just, like I say, I personally, I don't think you don't have this instead of, you just have this as well as, and it's just another creative tool.
Absolutely.
I can have so much fun with this. Anyway, so that I'm using this. This is cool, actually. This is everyone should be able to afford one of these. This is a Vailton. I don't even know if it has a model number yet. It's like this is a Vailton VLP 200. Might not even be out yet, which means I shouldn't be talking about it. But it's a really affordable stereo double looper. So we're using this so that we're using one side for the guitar, the other side for the bass, so I can have different effects on each instrument. Yep. But it's making one loop, but it's got 2 loops in there, so we can either use the second loop to be synced to the first loop, or the second loop could be a completely freestyle one, so I could do 1 loop with my electric guitar, 1 loop with my bass guitar, whatever I wanted to do here. That's about 120 quid, and I think it's got drums in it and everything, so that'll be in stock soon. That's fun. But look, I mean... I don't really know where. I mean, I suppose really I should try some of the other. Can I see what the difference is between this and the white one is? Because I don't think I've actually played one with this length of. And you're saying that actually this is the
Mark Lettieri one.
This is the one that you originally made. Okay, so let's.
The first one I always made was a Fiesta Red coloring. You can watch in the first Philips Fly videos.
Right. Yeah, that's the one Mark has, isn't it? And,
yes.
Now that has a different tone. How would I describe that tone? Tune the same, right?
Yeah, tune the same, but the scale is more longer, and the tension of the string is different.
Yeah.
The gauge of the string are the same, 13 to 74.
That you do have to get used to as a guitar player. If you you wouldn't normally have a 74 gauge E string,
yeah,
but
exactly. We designed these strings with the company called Dogal Strings. It's an Italian company strings, and this is the custom strings they make it for us.
Let's see. Let's turn the delay off, but we'll keep that reverb on. Bit of compression. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I'm going to say that even if I say so myself, I actually sound like I'm quite good on the guitar today. It's just like, I don't know what to say, man. This is just nuts. It's interesting to go, which do I have a preference out the two scale lengths? I think I prefer the look of the one with the shorter scale length, just because it feels again
more like a guitar.
More like a guitar.
Yeah.
Actually, when you're playing it, you don't really notice that this is a slightly longer scale length. And if anything, I think the higher string tension does work well.
The only way to understand the longer and the shorter scale is passing from a normal guitar to a 28 inch is much easier than go to 29 and 75 because from 25 to 28 is less far than 29, you know.
And of course we've got different pickups on here, but that sort of doesn't really, that's just your preference, right? I could have those pickups on the longer scale length.
Yeah.
Or...
This is called the Leonardo Funk Machine. This is the name Mark Lettieri added to this guitar. It's a funk machine, man.
I can't play funk. Maybe Pete will be doing some funk. you know what though? That it's interesting you talk about the sound because that bass note is so clear. There's no rattle, there's no sense that the guitar wasn't meant to make. I think sometimes when you play a normal scale length guitar and you tune down that low, you do get a sense that the guitar was never really meant to be like that. So, you know, I mean, they're so beautiful. You've got for the side dots as well, they're little brass rings infilled with some sort of, what is that, like
luminlay green dots.
Yeah, so pretty. It's so pretty. And you can see as well, you've got like carbon graphite scratch plates, or we've got plain black. They're interesting. They're often like a matte finish. Is that something that you like, or
it's a new lacquer which is called Soft Touch. It's an incredible lacquer because it's a zero glossy reflection.
Yeah.
And the black is more deep. You know, it's something you cannot see easily on the guitar business.
Let me try the wooden one. Now this, if I remember rightly, this is the one we had when Matteo was here. So this is the olive wood one, right?
Yes, it's chambered.
Okay.
It's complete different style of building.
What would you normally? It feels a little heavier. So are you using different woods on these, or is?
No, these are the same.
All olive woods.
It's heavier because ebony is more weight, more heavy than the maple only.
So again, I don't know if I've got the right pedal board here, but I'm half tempted to sort of see if we've got... So I put loads of distortion on my pedal boards here, probably, you know, more than I would normally use. Got the bass rolled down a little bit because I don't want to overpower it. I don't know, I'm not a metal guy, but... You know who I bet you would make some killer tones out of this would be like a Tom Morello style player.
Ah, right.
You know, like real, like dirty, riffy. But you know, it's still a lot of fun to be playing around with that. I sort of feel like I might leave that sort of heavy rock inspiration to the guy from Fontaine's DC. He'd probably do a better job than me. But for what I like to play, you know, that sort of more ambient, bluesy. It's fantastic, and these are what, black top Filtertrons or something?
Yes. There's a Filtertron.
Yeah, that's a cool sounding. That is a cool sounding
on the
guitar.
Carlos, on the Fontaine DC Baritone, there is a tremolo, not a fixed bridge. There's a Vega tremolo.
Wow. That's another Italian company, isn't it? Vega?
Vega, I think is Spanish.
Ah, you see.
Vega Trim, it's like...
some sort of Mediterranean brotherhood thing going on.
It's a nice bridge.
Yeah, I think the Vega Trims are fantastic.
Yes,
absolutely.
It doesn't fit on the Baritone, and I customize by myself.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, but very nice. And it was the first Baritone ever built with the tremolo, you know. It was.
I can't wait to try that. Have you got a picture of Carlos with the?
Yes.
So maybe we can, if you can send it to us, we'll put it on screen now because you've done some beautiful inlays for him as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, and Bruno was saying as well, although obviously every guitar I guess is unique to a certain degree with regards, you can pick what pickups and stuff you want on there. If you did want to go even more overboard and come up with a real kind of your own custom inlays and stuff like that, I think that is just a question of just ask the question.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure Bruno will find a way. Man alive! I'm looking forward to now just sitting and watching, see what Pete does.
Me too.
It's honestly, it's a pleasure sometimes. You know, this industry is. I'm so blessed to have ended up managing to make a living out of this, because you get, every so often you get to meet some wonderful people, making some truly amazing instruments, and yeah. This is great, and I look forward again to taking you up on your offer to come to Tuscany and
of course
have dinner with you one day. And this I love this as well. People who know Bruno will know that he loves his food. He's a master chef back home. And I've said we're going out for dinner tonight, and I'm like, where do you want to go in Guildford? I'm guessing you don't want me to book you into an Italian. He's like, no. Indian tonight. So we're going for a curry.
I love it.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, look, man.
So Lee, in the 21st of September, we want to release a new series of video we're making, which is called Play for Supper.
Wow, cool.
And we will invite musicians, and I'm going to make a plate of white rice, a piece of bread, or a nice soup, or a nice steak.
Right.
If they play the baritone and they convince me, I give them the steak instead the rice. If it doesn't convince me, I give the rice. And this is planned to also Carlos of Fontaine DC will come. Amazing. and he need to rearrange a song of somebody else, you know.
That's
and
superb.
think about with the baritone.
Well,
this is,
you know, you just make some rice because I know which one I'll be getting. It's fine. So well, look, man, it is a pleasure to spend some time here. The story about Bacci guitars. Obviously, if you're anywhere near Guildford, you can give our guitar gallery team a call, see what Bacci guitars we have in stock at the time, and make an appointment to come down, try them. If you live thousands of miles away, you could just take my word for how amazing these are and buy one anyway. The bass, we've got how many more of the... So the woodworm bass was a very special piece of wood, wasn't it? Is there enough to maybe make 2 or 3 more basses from
Only
it?
2.
2 more basses.
2 more.
So I know.
And the history of the Amanita is done.
I mean, look, if you're a bass player, there's a whole mythology around this that you can go and immerse yourself in. Like I said, the one we had went within like 48 hours of being here. I'm hoping that we're going to get one more of the 2 to the left. So. That's exciting too, but we'll have to leave that for another bass day video. But yeah, look, man, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you guys for watching, staying tuned. Yeah, if you've got any questions about these, comment below or give our guys in the guitar gallery a call. Thank you, good night, see you in the next video.
Thank you, ciao a tutti.
Bye.